Well, the first question is, why did you decide to create this documentary?
Well, actually, the creating was done by Olivia, so she'd be really better suited to answer that question. Liv?
Well, it actually it started when we were working at Paramount Studios, and I was director of development for LeVar Burton's company, and reading a lot of scripts and a lot of submissions from other people, and realizing that the main issue was not being addressed here. And then 9/11 hit, and it became quite clear that there needed to be something about peace. What was really going on here? Why were we still hurting one another after all this time? And we were supposed to be so evolved, and we're still doing this. So LeVar had to direct a movie and went away to do his feature film. So I spent a few months in the office crafting something specifically for LeVar, as I knew that LeVar, there was no better person to be the spokesperson for peace than LeVar. And so the idea was to craft something where LeVar could interview renowned scientists and physicists and biologists who had been working on this issue for many, many years. They're what would probably be considered fringe scientists. We term them renegade scientists. They're our friends. They're ones who have pushed the envelope, gone outside the box to really look at this particular issue. And I'd been going to a lot of workshops and read all their books and said, LeVar, you go and interview these people and we'll put it all together and help people understand how peace is actually possible and why it isn't happening in our daily lives.
One of the things we really wanted to explore in the course of the documentary series was the idea that mankind has for eons claimed to want peace in our lives. We want peace on a global level. We want peace on a personal level, but we have so far been unable to achieve any sort of significant or lasting peace in the history of humanity. And the field of science, we were looking for a language in common with which to conduct this discussion about peace. And the field of scientific inquiry and discovery is an area and a potential language where everyone can sort of agree that where the rules are common, they're agreed upon. In scientific discovery, there are rules and a structure that we have a tendency to buy into in cultures all around the world. If a scientist in the course of his or her exploration can prove a theory again and again and again, we tend to relax our skepticism. And so the field of scientific inquiry and discovery was an area of human endeavor that really had not been asked to weigh in on the issue of peace and whether or not it was possible for us as human beings, except for to, perhaps invent weapons of war over time. So science and the field of scientific discovery and inquiry became a really focal point for us because there is so much excitement going on in so many different areas that we just thought it was time to shed a little light on so that people could begin to make adjustments in their own lives.
And I'd also like to add that the reason we picked science is because it levels the playing field.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about religion or politics or color or creed. It's about something that we all agree upon, whether it's consciously or not.
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain specific rules and facts that can be observed that make sense to the brain. And I think this is why it will be accepted by the majority.
There's also a really interesting opportunity in that the conversation is really well underway. The idea that the fields of science and spirituality are beginning to come together. That there's a lot of conversation on both sides of the fence, science and spirituality, that are indicating that when we get to it, whatever it is, we will discover that it's the same thing, that at the center of the center of the center of matter is spirit.